This is the second video in a short video series where we look at an average retirement plan with $1.7 million in financial assets. Now, why $1.7 million? Well, that was what a recent survey suggested the average Canadian thinks they need for retirement. Is that the right number? That's what we're going to figure out in this short video series. If you missed the first video about income and assets, please go back and watch that. I'll put a link in the description for this video. In this video, we're going to be looking at assets and debt. So let's take a look. Okay, so if you remember from our last video, we had Bill and Louise. Bill and Louise have just retired. They haven't started CPP or old age security benefits yet, and they're aiming for about $75,000 a year in after-tax spending. So about $6,200 a month in after-tax spending. Now in this video, we're going to take a look at assets and debt. So we're going to go over here to assets and we're going to add some of the assets for Bill and Louise. Now again, this is purely hypothetical, but we want to build up to that $1.7 million in financial assets that the survey suggested the average Canadian thinks they need for retirement. So checking savings balance, we're just going to add a small amount here, maybe $5,000 each. TFSA savings balance, we're going to assume is zero. We're going to assume they're using their TFSAs for investment purposes, not savings. To get to 1.7 million, we need to have some fairly large balances. So already you can see this is getting a little bit ridiculous. This is not the average retirement situation. Let's assume they each have about $500,000 in RSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. And let's assume they have about $150,000 each in their TFSAs, which is roughly, maximizing it since 2009 when they started. We're also going to assume they have some non-registered balance here. So let's assume, I think we need $195,000 or so each. So we're going to put that here. Let's see if that gets us to 1.7 million. It does. And we have to add a cost base here. So what the original investments in that non-registered account were purchased for. Let's assume that there's a $60,000 capital gain for both Bill and Louise. So we'll have $135,000 for their cost base. Now they've got a vehicle. We're going to assume one vehicle in retirement. Maybe it's getting a little bit older, so we're going to assume $16,000 or so for the value. And let's assume they're in $1 million home. So we'll assume $1 million owned jointly. We're also going to assume they've got everything maximized. So no room in TFSAs or RSPs. They're going to earn more TFSA contribution room as they go forward, which will definitely include in the final plan. And we'll make contributions if there's room to do so. Now for debts, well, before we get there, so we got 1.7 million in financial assets, a little over $1 million in real physical assets, no RSP TFSA contribution room. Now let's take a look at debt. So we've just got a home equity line of credit. Now a home equity line of credit can be very helpful in retirement, gives you some good flexibility. It's good to set it up before you enter retirement. So if you own a home, if you're still working full time, it's good to set up that home equity line of credit before you retire. Much easier to set up when you've got full-time income. We'll assume no outstanding balance. They're not using it. We'll assume something like 6.6 or 7% for interest rate at the moment. Nothing in payments, but we'll assume if they do make payments, they're going to be monthly. So just a little bit of buffer in case they need some cash in a short-term basis. So if we look at overall net worth, we've got 2.7 million in total net worth. We've got a little under 1.7 million in investment assets, 10,000 or so in just cash savings. Of course, we've got the adjusted cost base on their non-registered investments. We've got the home value. And so total net worth, 2.7 million. Again, above average. So the 1.7 million number, 1 million for home value, definitely above average retirement, but let's see what this looks like. In the next video, we're going to look at CPP and old age security, what those contributions would look like, and then also what the potential benefit would look like as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and hit the little bell notification icon so that you get notified when the next video in this series comes out. Thanks for watching.